Minecraft Dungeons Creeping Winter DLC is right around the corner, and today I am going to show you everything we as a community already know about it. So be ready for actual in-game footage of me using some of the DLC items, showing off some brand new enchantments that are very likely to be seen with the DLC in the game, a interview with Minecraft Dungeons game director Måns Olson, and even providing a little sneak peek of how the first level of Creeping Winter will look like by showing some actual in-game footage. Now that being said, it should be clear that this video contains tons of spoilers, so if you don't want to see any spoilers, please stop watching right here. Now that's been said, this is Minecraft Dungeons Creeping Winter DLC Everything We Know. Let's begin with the loading screen pictures that Mojang released by themselves. The first one we got is the loading screen of the Frozen Fjord mission, and here we can see a polar bear, an illusionist, as well as the frozen variants of zombies and creepers, while also getting a first view of how the terrain will look like. The second loading screen is from the Lonely Castle, and here we can see what seems to be the entrance of the castle with a couple of zombies and strays in the back behind the gate. Now, before we talk about the mobs in detail, let's first have a look at the DLC's map. Looking at the map, we can quickly notice 3 landmarks, which reminds us of the amount of missions from the Jungle Awakens DLC, so we should not expect more than 3 maps here again. Now, starting at the bottom, we will have the Frozen Fjord mission, and this will probably be our starting point for the new DLC. On the second location, we will find the mission named Lonely Fortress. This will also be the mission where we fight the final boss of the DLC, just like Overgrown Temple in the Jungle Awakens DLC. Now I know that some people say that this will be the secret mission, and I will talk about why I don't think so in a second. But let's have a look at the third location first. This is where I think that the secret mission will be located, and it is called the Lost Settlement. Now, why do I think that the Lost Settlement is the secret mission and not the Lonely Fortress? I have a couple of reasons, but most important is that the final boss of the DLC will be inside the Lonely Fortress. Having the final boss in a secret mission just seems unlikely to me. The second reason has to do with the map layout. If we have a closer look, the Frozen Fjord and the Lonely Fortress are both connected by a path, while the Lost Settlement is not. When we have a quick look at the map of Jungle Awakens, we can see the exactly same thing there as well, where the Panda Plateau is not connected to any of the other maps by a path, while the other maps are connected with each other. Then when we have the name Lost Settlement, Lost indicates to me that it is not known to many, which would make sense for a secret. And finally, I find the thought funny that a huge fortress made out of solid rock on an island could be something that is hard to find. Now, this is all I have to say about the map of the DLC. Let's have a look at the new enemies that we will encounter here. The first enemy we talk about is the Frozen Zombie. Now, unlike all the other zombie variants, this zombie will not just attack you with melee attacks. The Frozen Zombie is able to throw a snowball at the player, and you can see that happen in the in-game footage that I'll show you at the end of the video. Apart from that, the attacks of the Frozen Zombie will slow down the player, just like the Jungle Awakens variant of the zombie used to poison the player. Up next we have the Stray. Those of you who played OG Minecraft will recognize this type of enemy. In Minecraft Dungeons he's also just a frozen variant of the normal skeleton and will slow down players when he hits them with his arrows. And as there's just not much else to say about the Stray, let's move right on and get started with the Icy Creeper. Now you may be wondering why the creeper that I show you right now is not blue but is green. Let's have a look again at the loading screen picture from the Frozen Fjord. Now if we zoom in here a little bit, we can see that the creeper is still green, just with some added ice effect to it. So I guess he will just stay green as he used to. Now that being said, the only real difference between the normal creeper and the icy creeper is that when the icy creeper explodes, he will also slow down the player. The next enemy is the Chillager. His main attacks will be ranged, and upon hitting the player he will apply a slow and a poison effect to the player. When the Chillager first sees a player, he will summon some ice blocks above the player's head, which will fall onto the player just a few seconds later. This will deal some damage to the player and stun him for several seconds, while also applying a slow effect as well. In this short clip you can see how this will look like. Next we have the Illusionist. He will summon copies of himself like the Illusioner from OG Minecraft, and his attacks will be similar to those of the Illusioner as well. The only main difference is that the Illusionist in Minecraft dungeons is also able to teleport. And finally, we have the Wretched Wraith. This is the final boss of the new DLC, and hopefully he will be a challenging boss. To this point there is nothing much known about the attack patterns or abilities of this boss, so I guess we need to wait and be surprised for when we finally get there. And while we're talking about mobs, we should not forget to mention the polar bear. He will just be added like the pandas did in the Jungle Awakens as a neutral mob that you can kill but you don't have to. And then also there is the Arctic fox pet. It looks pretty nice, but there's nothing much to say about it as it's just a pet. So now that we're done with talking about mobs, let's head to the interview with Måns Olson, game director of Minecraft Dungeons, and look at what he had to say just after the Jungle Awakens DLC has been released. Now, at the beginning of the interview, Olson states that they are planning to add more paid and free content to the game. Similar to how we received a lower temple with the Jungle Awakens DLC, it might be possible that we see something like this in Creeping Winter as well. A little later he says that with Creeping Winter they are planning to add more and more items to the game and new merchants to the camp. He also states that they are planning to add endgame content after that, which means that the earliest we could see some endgame content would be with the DLC that comes after Creeping Winter. He also states that they are currently trying to figure out how to implement Diamond Dust so that it feels good to use while not taking away other aspects of the game. Now, Diamond Dust was highly expected to be introduced with the Jungle Awakens DLC already, and players have been pretty disappointed when they found out that it wasn't. So I'm pretty happy to hear that they are still working on it. And then he finished the talk about the Diamond Dust with saying that this is something they're really considering for the Creeping Winter update. So hopefully we can finally get Diamond Dust in the game with Creeping Winter. Now, the interview contained a lot more information. I just picked out the things that have been the most exciting to me. I will provide the link to the full interview down in the description, and I recommend you to check it out. Thanks to the guys who did the interview, we got a good idea of what to expect from Creeping Winter, but now I want to show you things that have already been confirmed. So let me show you items that will be coming with Creeping Winter as I use them in the game already. Now here you can see me using the Frost Armor, the unique variant of the new Snow Armor, and you can see its unique enchant that slows all enemies nearby periodically. The Snow Armor as well as the Frost Armor both have a 50% freezing resistance, but this stat is not yet confirmed, and it might also be that there are more stats on it when they finally release. And as expected, the health of the Frost Armor is exactly the same as the health of any other armor with the same power level. Now, the next item that you can see me use is the Winter's Touch unique bow. It is the unique variant of the snow bow, and both have the affix of freezing enemies on impact. Now, additionally, Winter's Touch has the unique affix of firing 3 arrows when his attacks are fully charged. If you don't charge his attacks though, he will just fire 1 arrow as all the other bows do. The damage of the Winter's Touch or snow bow is comparable to the damage of a normal bow. And the last item I can show you is the Ice Wand. This is the new artifact we will get with Creeping Winter, and it summons ice blocks up in the sky. These will fall down and crush your enemies below. Enemies hit by those ice blocks take damage and will be stunned. You can also see that enemies in a larger radius will be knocked back and stunned as well, but these enemies won't take any damage. It is important to notice that when you use the Ice Wand, it will summon the ice blocks in a certain distance in front of you, not where you put your mouse cursor or if you target an enemy at the enemy's location. I don't know if this is intended or if this might be changed until the release day, but as of now, this is how the Ice Wand works. So as we are now done with talking about items, let's talk about enchantments. Now, if you've watched my video prior to the Jungle Awakens release, you might recognize them. These enchantments have been in the game's code for a while, so I don't know if they will be released with the Creeping Winter DLC, but I wanted to show you those enchantments in-game anyways. So let's start with Regeneration. This enchantment will let you regenerate a small percentage of your health each second when you didn't take damage for at least 10 seconds. Now you can see the enchantment is working, but the healing is always 1 HP, so it is not finished yet. The next enchantment is Shielding. This is basically a damage reduction aura that reduces damage taken of yourself and nearby allies, including summoned companions. And the next one is Heals Allies. Now with this enchantment you take a percentage of the damage you took and heal an ally by that amount. Sadly, I cannot show you how these enchantments work in the game, as I did not have a friend with me when I was recording this footage. For the next and last enchantment I have Barrier. This enchantment reduces the damage you take by up to 10% for each enemy that is near you. This enchantment can easily become stronger than Protection. Now you can see that when there are 3 enemies around me, I take only 873 damage per hit, while I will take 1031 damage after I kill 2 of them. And this is all I have to say about enchantments as well. Now I want to point out once again that all these things could still be changed. Based on the fact that none of the Jungle Awakens items we found before its release have been changed, I am pretty confident that the items will release the way they are now. But I'm definitely not sure about the enchantments. It might be that we still won't see any of them. And now, finally, I will show you a 1-minute clip of gameplay from the Lost Settlement mission. Now, as this is the end of the video, I want to first thank Nanikos for making the footage of the Lost Settlement mission available. You can find the link to his full video down in the description. Also, I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video informative. And if so, please consider leaving a like so that the video can reach more people. That's it for this video. Hope to see you next time. Bye bye.